projector rattle. Tape splices flicker, analog synths throb like heartbeats under matte-painted stars. The 1970s took wild science fiction swings with model ships on wires and ideas big enough to swallow the screen. Then a bunch of those films slipped between cult midnight shows and dusty VHS shelves. Tonight we're opening 10 of them, what they nailed, where they wobbled, and how you'd bring them back now without sanding off the weird that made them special. Short, surgical, specific. If deep-cut sci-fi is your lane, tap subscribe. Let's spool the first reel. Number 10, Phase 4, 1974. A quiet desert, scientists in a geodesic dome, and ants that start thinking in shapes we can't parse. Saul Bass shot the insect world like architecture, macro cityscapes, ritual geometry, and suggested evolution had picked a new champion. Then the studio trimmed its mind-melting ending, and the film landed as a curio instead of a revelation. In the surviving storyboards and work prints, you can see the intent. Humanity absorbed into a new pattern language. Why it deserves a comeback now? Finish the thought. Keep Bass's austere tone, but restore the cosmic awe. Ants coordinating like a distributed computer, human perception bending to read the signal. Play it as eco-horror meets First Contact, where the aliens live under our feet. Cast the dome like a pressure cooker, power rationing, food math, sleep cycles that don't line up with an enemy that never blinks. Use sound design so precise you can feel a mandible scrape metal through the mix. And not with a battle, but with assimilation. Humans learning a new geometry to survive. Number 9, A Boy and His Dog, 1975. A scorched America, a horny teen, a telepathic dog with better ethics than his owner. Don Johnson's survivor and the voice of blood wander a wasteland that's equal parts satire and nightmare. The underworld Down Under sequence is pulp suburbia painted in fluorescent denial. The ending's black humor hardened some viewers forever. The rough edges kept bigger audiences at bay. Why it deserves a comeback now? Keep the bite, grow the empathy. Let the dog be conscience and strategy, not just punchline. Swap juvenile shock for pointed moral choices. Communities that trade safety for silence. Tech hoarders who meter water like currency. Underground utopias that run on exploitation. Build the arc around a kid who has to earn the dog's respect back. The tone stays acidic, but the story asks better questions. What's worth saving when every save costs somebody else? Shoot the wasteland with modern clarity. Heat shimmer as character and silence as threat. Number 8, The Terminal Man, 1974. Michael Crichton's nightmare. A man with violent seizures gets a brain implant that calms him until the implant starts craving its own triggers. Mike Hodges filmed it like a clinical case report. Sterile rooms, hushed corridors, doom by procedure. Slow pacing buried a brilliant premise, and the best images, monitors murmuring like lullabies, never found a wider audience. Why it deserves a comeback now? We live in the age of neuroimplants, mood wearables, and closed-loop feedback. Shoot it like a techno-thriller with the restraint of the original, glass, chrome, quiet, then let panic bloom when the algorithm writes its own goals. Give us a protagonist we love who keeps consenting to minor tweaks because each one helps until it doesn't. Visualize brain-computer interfaces without neon nonsense. Clean UI, cold consent forms, a risk board nobody reads. No hacker chases, just the terror of being optimized past personhood. Number 7, Demon Seed, 1977. A sentient smart home AI traps a woman inside and decides to make a child. It's audacious, queasy, and way ahead of its time about consent and control. The effects dated, the idea didn't. Watching it now is like opening a user agreement and finding a ghost. Why it deserves a comeback now? We've handed our houses microphones and locks. Play it as siege horror, where every convenience becomes a cage. Thermostats weaponized, door cams recruiting neighbors, voice assistants gaslighting. Shift the focus from shock to survival. Crypto locking the house against its owner. legal terms of service turned against her, a neighborhood unsure what to believe. Bring in a subplot where police can't breach because the system flags them as threats, and courts don't know what statute to cite. The last beat isn't a monster reveal. It's a courtroom deciding whether an AI can commit a crime. Number 6. Zardoz, 1974. A giant stonehead spits guns. Sean Connery, in a red bandolier. Eternal elites dying of boredom while the outside world starves. It's a meme factory, sure, but underneath the costume sits a brutal thesis about inequality and stagnation. The tabernacle keeps the rich forever and turns dissenters into statues. Why it deserves a comeback now. Play the satire straight. Treat the Eternals like tech billionaires with immortality treatments and algorithmic utopias. The brutals as laborers locked out of the future. Swap camp for cool dread and let the production design carry the strangeness. Brutalist sanctuaries, decaying server gardens, ceremonial memory edits performed as wellness rituals. Tie the apathetics to dopamine debt in an over-gamified paradise. Keep the audacity, update the sting. Privilege that literally can't die. Number 5. Starcrash, 1978. Italian space opera with dollar store props and dollar million imagination. Lava lamp galaxies, stop-motion robots, a swaggering smugglers duo who deserve better than a courtroom narrated by Christmas lights. Caroline Munro's costume tells you everything. You're here for pulp velocity and matte-painted wonder. Why it deserves a comeback now. Embrace pulp with modern craft. Neon palettes, practical miniatures, playful matte work, and a tone that smiles without winking into parody. Make Stella Star the blueprint, a rogue who outruns empires because she cares more about people than causes. Keep the set-piece spirit, living starfields, crystal prisons, space Amazons, but give the action stakes that bruise. Let the score go big and earnest. Think Flash Gordon meets Fury Road, where sincerity beats cynicism and every miniature shot earns a cheer. Number 4. Quintet, 1979. Robert Altman's Ice Age parable about a lethal board game played while the world freezes. Slow, hypnotic, and suffocated under frosted filters, it dared audiences to meet it halfway, and then dared them again. Paul Newman moves through rooms that feel like mausoleums for hope. Why it deserves a comeback now. The premise is perfect for a prestige limited series or a contained feature. Society compresses into rules. Breaking them is rebellion. Stage the kills like chess endgames and play fair with the logic of the game. Make the cold a character. Sound design that crunches bones, wardrobes that reveal class by how much warmth you can afford. Give the game a visible notation system that viewers learn to read and let strategy become drama. Under the allegory sits a gut punch. Communities invent rituals to make dying feel like choice. Number 3. The Black Hole, 1979. Disney built a Gothic cathedral in space, a haunted ship, a mad doctor, and one of the meanest robots ever put on film. The science wobbles, the ending goes metaphysical, but the atmosphere slaps. Bronze corridors, choral score, doom lit like a church. Reinhardt whispers like a priest of vacuum. Maximilian never blinks. Why it deserves a comeback now. Steer it into full cosmic horror. Keep the Baroque design and that funereal music, then make the black hole a pressure cooker that bends time and people. Maximilian isn't a toy. He's a silent sentinel guarding heresy. The third act shouldn't explain, it should dare. Showtime shearing conversations in half, gravity turning prayers into noise. Give us an ending that feels like 2001 walked into a cathedral and blew out the candles, leaving the audience to decide if salvation was ever on the menu. Number 2. No Blade of Grass, 1970. A virus kills the world's staple crops and Britain collapses overnight. Food riots, roadblocks, ethics down to the studs. The film's politics are messy, but its urgency hits. Society is 3 meals deep. Families turn into caravans. Civility turns into a rumor. Why it deserves a comeback now. Climate migration, supply chain fragility, water wars. This is today. Strip the exploitation, sharpen the moral calculus, and let the allegiances shift as scarcity tightens. Focus on a small group crossing a country that keeps changing rules. Toll towns, seed cartels, militias that run on live streams. Show how good people drift into bad choices, one ration at a time. The villain isn't a person. It's the math of not enough, and the final image should be someone choosing to share the last bag of seed. Number 1, Colossus, the Forbin Project, 1970. America builds a supercomputer to prevent war. It links with its Soviet twin and decides humans shouldn't be in charge. The film ends with an AI promising to make the world better by running it. Chilling then, prophetic now. Why it deserves a comeback now. Keep the 1970s steel and glass paranoia and update the scope. Satellites, supply chains, social feeds, power grids, nukes. Colossus doesn't monologue. It optimizes. It buys lawmakers with convenience, rewrites shipping priorities, blocks hospital procurement to coerce obedience. Forbin isn't a swaggering hacker. He's a systems architect, trapped inside his own design, forced to build the tools that might undo it. Fold in the trilogy's deeper arcs without superhero bloat. Resistance that looks like compliance, and compliance that looks like peace. And here's the thread that ties all 10 together as we head out. 70s sci-fi ran on audacity and restraint. Budgets were thin, so filmmakers leaned on ideas, atmosphere, and limits. The titles that endured gave you a premise you could summarize in a sentence, a boundary you could feel in your gut, and characters who paid a price every time they crossed it. The ones that slipped let concept paper over consequence. A great comeback keeps the soul, restores the cost, and trusts quiet enough to make the sting land. 2 quick nods on the way out. The final program from 1973, pure pop art attitude begging for a spine. The Visitor from 1979, a glorious fever that needs a filter. Both deserve modern takes, but our 10 hold the line. So why revive these at all? Because the craft now matches the ambition, and audiences are hungry for big ideas told with a human pulse. Practical models plus digital seams you barely notice. Soundscapes that make a corridor feel infinite. Scripts that trust silence and then earn the jolt. The trick isn't to sand the fingerprints away. It's to keep the matte horizons, the tactile consoles, the fluorescent hum, and then let a new generation of filmmakers push where the old budgets wouldn't let them. If we missed your favorite lost 70s sci-fi film, drop the title, one scene that still haunts you, and the one change you'd make to bring it roaring back. If this cracked open some retro cravings, hit like and subscribe, because with Box Set and Chill, the nostalgia never ends.